If you ever find yourself feeling bad about the way that you reacted to a situation and you don't know how to move past that awful feeling, then be sure to watch this video right till the end so that you will know exactly how to transform those awful thoughts and feelings and turn the whole situation into a gift. This is what happened to me recently when I was traveling in the car with my husband and daughter along the French Riviera. This is part of the world trip that we're currently on. And I had a situation that left me feeling awful for the way that I reacted. And I want to tell you how I used that exact situation to transform all of it into something that was a huge growth experience for me and ultimately a gift. After we finished our stay in the gorgeous town of Aix-en-Provence, we picked up a hire car so that we could explore along the French Riviera and some of the region inland. We have been able to enjoy some breathtaking bucket list locations, some of France's most beautiful villages, as well as the coastline along the Riviera, which is also called the Cote D'Azur. If you've ever rented a car in a foreign country, you might know how hair-raising it can be. Especially for us, being Australian, we have the steering wheel on the other side of the car. We have to drive on the other side of the road, and I'm not the one who's been doing the driving. It's my husband, Mark, but I've been the primary navigator. When we first picked up the car, it was going really well, and even though it was it was challenging, I'm not going to lie, but we were doing really well. I was really pleased with and proud of how well I navigated. I didn't make many mistakes in the first day, and Mark was doing a great job. Our first destination on the first day after we picked up the car was the incredible town of Gordes in Provence. So that one's not on the Riviera, it's inland a little bit. And this town took our breath away as we approached it in the car. It is one of France's most beautiful villages. I mean, it has that official rating in the list of France's most beautiful villages. The town is built on a steep mountain and it has an imposing chateau at the top and a labyrinth of charming little streets and alleyways that we could wander through, and we just took our time enjoying and exploring that gorgeous village. On the second day, we drove along the French Riviera and we enjoyed a place called l'Estoril, which is stunning rock formations overlooking the Cote D'Azur and the waters there. We enjoyed the view and vista of some beautiful towns and cities along the way. We had an absolutely wonderful day. But it was towards the end of the day when we were trying to make our way out of a city. It was peak hour, the traffic was moving really fast, and we found ourselves in what I can only really describe as a tangled, spaghetti-like web of freeway entries and exits. On top of that, there was roadworks going on. And what happened was that my navigation on my phone kept redirecting and changing, and we kept taking the wrong turn. So in this heavy, fast-moving traffic with all these complex entries and exits, every time I thought that we needed to turn a particular way, it turned out that I'd sent us in the wrong direction again. And then we'd have to drive for kilometers up the freeway before we could find a way to get off, turn around, get back on, and try it all over again. And this happened over and over. So I really freaked out. I lost my cool. I felt angry with myself and the situation. I felt very responsible because I was the navigator. I felt out of control because I couldn't seem to figure it out and fix it. And I got so stressed about the situation that I reverted to what I call the small self, my small self. So this is the part of us that can be active when we go into a fear response, when the fight, flight, freeze response is activated. And what happens when we do this is that our logical, executive functioning, our problem solving and reasoning, it just shuts down. Now, thankfully, I haven't freaked out like that for a long time because of the work that I do and I put into practice myself every day. But it was a big reminder to me that that part of me still exists within me. And given the right circumstances and situations, that part of me, the small self, can still very much come out. And so it's about knowing what to do with that. But the most interesting thing and the growth experience for me was that after it happened, I was feeling pretty badly about the way that I'd reacted. I was really disappointed in myself. I felt kind of guilty, or maybe it was even a kind of a shame about the way that I'd reacted. I didn't like that my husband and daughter had seen me in that kind of state of just freaking out and being so emotional and angry. And I thought, you know, with all the growth, all the work, everything I teach about, I should be better than this. And so the first part of it for me was shifting out of that, because that is still what I call a below the line kind of thinking. It is not empowered, it's not self-compassionate, but it's normal. When you react in a way that you don't feel pleased with because it was out of alignment with your best self, then it is normal to initially feel a lot of discomfort, to feel badly about it. But what's so important here is knowing how to shift that. And we do that with the power of unconditional love and self-compassion. And this exact kind of situation reminded me once again that when we are able to bring this unconditional loving compassion to aspects of ourselves that we find hard to love, when we can bring that loving, compassionate understanding to those parts of ourselves, it is so deeply transformational, and it truly allows us to be able to extend more compassion, more understanding to others. If you think about this, what greater opportunity could there possibly be for us to learn unconditional love, true love, and to learn to really grow in compassion and understanding than something like this, where we feel awful about ourselves, we believe that we shouldn't have acted in a certain way, and then we can bring compassion and love and understanding to ourselves, realizing that we are all human and we are only doing the best that we can according to where we are at in any given situation, according to all the things that have brought you to that exact point in your life, including the past beliefs, experiences, and the thoughts that drop into your head at that moment. That is why you respond and react in certain ways. And then when we know better, we can do better. But it showed me that if you put me in a certain set of quite stressful and difficult circumstances, there is still a small self within me and you that can still come out. And while that kind of thing hasn't happened to me for years, but every single day there are still little ways in which my small self comes out, even if it's just in the privacy of my own mind. So the power of bringing unconditional, loving compassion to those parts of yourself, giving yourself the comforting assurance that you're human and it is okay to mess up. And the most important thing is that you're learning and you're growing and you're doing the best you can as you go. And continuing to feel bad about it, it doesn't help you. You're not growing when you're staying stuck in that feeling guilty, feeling bad. And what is really beautiful also is the humility that this helps us with, because if I never messed up, if I never stuff up, then how can I relate so much to others in their humanity, in their stuffing up and their mistakes? If I'm sort of sitting back here going, I've done all the work on myself, I would never do that. It keeps me humble, it keeps me compassionate and understanding, not only for myself, but for others. So you might still be thinking, yeah, but how do you do that? Exactly what do you do? And because I am a very practical teacher, I'm just going to tell you very briefly about the exact process that you can use, that I used to move past that feeling of guilt and shame for the way that I had reacted. So in order for you to practice true unconditional love, that is the transformational power that shifts this, it is absolutely necessary that you access that unconditional love, that energy, that frequency of unconditional love must be accessed in the present, in the now. When I'm feeling bad about the way I acted, and I'm worried about what my husband, what my daughter might be judging me for, or, you know, any of those stressful thoughts, I am not present. My thoughts are in the past, and they might even be going into the future as well. And so the first thing is to allow your awareness to come into the present. And the most simple, powerful and transformative way that I recommend doing this is by bringing your awareness into the heart center. And that's just if you take your awareness into the center of the chest and inside the body. So just imagine that as an energy center, which it is. We call that the heart center. So center of the chest area inside the body. Just imagine now that you're breathing into that space. And just practice that now with me. Just breathe into the heart center. Don't make it complicated. Let it be simple and easy. And what I do is I make a mini meditation of just breathing into that space. It's much easier to focus if you close your eyes so that you're not distracted by what's around you. And you take your awareness there and you just breathe there, you drop there. And then I brought my awareness to the situation, to my thoughts and feelings, the pictures swirling around in my head about the situation without going into a story about what happened. So I bring my awareness in the present moment, breathing into my heart, to the situation, and I bring a loving, present curiosity to the uncomfortable feelings in my body, because it's very important to get present to the feelings instead of fighting against them and trying to push them away. So we get just very present to even to the discomfort. And you can, as you breathe into your heart center, you just imagine you're breathing into love. Just breathe into love. And you allow whatever's there to be there. And through this allowing and this presence, breathing into the energy of love, you bring that compassion to the situation. And you remind yourself that it's all okay, that it is normal to mess up. It's like you are being, in that state, you are being a wise, compassionate, loving parent to the small self. You are parenting yourself from this point of view of this healing, unconditionally loving, wise parent. So the key is to be in this state of present, heart-centered awareness. And when you are sitting with the situation and you're looking in on that part of you that was struggling and suffering, you're sitting with the feeling, but from this state of loving presence. This creates a frequency, a vibration. So it's not just about thinking your way out of this. It's about literally transforming it in a way that is energetic as well as mental and physical. It is a mind, body, spirit, and energy practice that is absolutely transformational. It can take a little bit of practice, but I promise you it doesn't have to be hard or complicated, but it does require you to sit with this loving presence. It's like you're wrapping up that part of you that's struggling and suffering and feeling guilty and feeling bad. It's like you're saying, it's okay. It's all okay. That's the unconditional loving part. There are no conditions. There's no way that you can earn your worthiness. So when we mess up and we stuff up, we feel bad about ourselves. We feel unworthy. We feel not good enough. You're worthy because you exist, and every time we mess up is another opportunity to put this unconditional love into practice. And the more we do this for ourselves, the more we can do it for others. And we learn the humility. Hey, I'm still learning. I still stuff up. So it's amazing, and you can see that it's so much more than just a mindset thing. And if you're not feeling it when you first practice it, please trust me on this and keep going. And you might need to have a few goes at it. And especially if there's something that you're feeling bad about that for you was a really big thing, you may need to come back to this several times. Give it time and know that each time you do it, you are healing more and more layers. That, in a nutshell, is how we transform it. It can take a few goes at this. It can take some time and some practice, and I have so much more to teach about this that I can't possibly contain in this video. And so, coming out the other side of that big learning experience, which was another opportunity for me to put self-forgiveness, compassion, and unconditional love into practice, and moving through that in a way that I stopped feeling bad about myself. So for our last days having the car in the south of France, we have enjoyed an amazing time. We had one of the best days ever when we drove to a place called Gordes du Verdon. Incredible, gorgeous. We canoed on the most beautiful lake. We went to a nearby town, which is another one of France's most beautiful villages, called Moustières. And we have just been so pleased that we did hire the car for that last week in France. It's been absolutely wonderful. I really hope that you have enjoyed seeing some of the wonderful footage and pictures of our time in the south of France. And I hope that this has been helpful to you too. So please know that whenever you feel bad about the way you reacted to something, it really is just because in those moments you were out of alignment with your true self. You're not a bad person, you're human, and we all mess up. And these opportunities that messing up brings us are an incredible opportunity for growth and learning. It helps us to grow in unconditional love, self-compassion, and humility. And ultimately, that allows us to be not just better for ourselves, happier, more peaceful, and aligned with our true selves, but it helps us to be better for everyone around us because we can extend that to others as well. in learning and growing to be our best selves. Be sure to subscribe so that you won't miss any of the free content that I share, and so that you can keep up with my updates while I'm on my world trip. Make sure you also check in the description below for the link to sign up to my email list and get all the free goodies that I share with you by email. Thanks for being here. See you next time.